All right, so let's get things going, guys. Okay. For the issues here. I'm not sure, guys, because every time I do a session, for some reason, um, the connection is magically unstable. But we'll continue with last week. I just recorded it. I'll continue and record it. So if for any point in time the connection breaks, you can have the recording to go back to. Okay. All right. So um, as I said, I've managed to reshuffle a couple of things and just to basically simplify so much of the work that we have been doing for the past year. And with that in mind, also added some things that should be of great benefit, especially when it comes to your trading. Um, not so much in terms of technical. Yeah, we'll touch on some technical. I'd probably say 30% technical, but 70% of it is things that are outside of the technical realm. Okay, so that would be simulation, data gathering, back tests, designing trading plan, so it's gonna go like this, right? So from today, is try and squeeze in this session today, how to actually make forex trading work. Now, with this is a very broad statement as well, because it's not just going to be currency trading, right? So we're going to be introduced to equities, introduced to indices, which we're going to be doing tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, is it? Yes, tomorrow we're going to be doing indices, and those are much simpler as opposed to forex trading, as you will come to see. I know some of you will migrate to that, for certain. I myself would probably say I'm trading 80% indices and 20% currency market, because indices are just very beautiful, but don't want to get too carried away with that. We're going to be going through that tomorrow. Processes. I'm going to be helping you guys just basically building a framework for your trading. So we'll go through that. The technical trade setups, a more simplified approach to just look at one or two trade setups that are high probability trade setups. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. But like I said, all recorded so you can have it. Alternative technical setups, which simply mean that they don't often occur, but when they do occur, they actually do pay out. And those are not my go-to trades, so to speak, but they are there, especially if, because now you can't be looking for a London shimmy trade if you are working during that time, of which most of you guys are. So that is a constraint. So the alternative technical setups, which also need to line up with the fundamental analysis blueprint that you're going to be going on. Okay, so that is going to be the program focus. So we're just going to be doing 2 sessions a week. So this is 8 things. So 2 sessions a week, which would then give us 1 month, and then the next month we'll probably break it down and do probably a rehash of some of the stuff that we need to focus more on, and then I'll just include or delete anything that needs to be deleted out of the program. Yeah, but for now, this is it. Everyone will have a copy of this, so we know what's coming up before it does. Okay. All right. So now, first one, okay, how to actually make trading work, right? So forget the retail trading dream. Okay, now I know a lot of guys have this whole dream of, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start trading, take my $100 account, and that's all gotta stop, right? Trading basically was not designed to make retail traders rich, especially overnight. So it's gonna be a time thing, right? It's a marathon more than anything else, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication for you to step over, because there's a huge barrier that all retail traders actually have, and that is the urge and the greed to try and make things quick and urgent and all of that stuff. So that really works against you. Your rather focus should be towards creating an alternative income stream. Instead of saying, okay, I want to make all these millions right now, you can say, I'd like to establish an alternative income stream. So if you're working, great. If you're not, I mean, trading allows you to do a lot of other things while you trade as well, because you don't need to be specifically there pushing the candles up or down, which is essentially what you would be doing in a normal type of setup. Let's say type of business. You need to be pushing up or down. In trading, you don't need to be doing that. Right now, trading takes time, and rushing into a live account without preparation only extends that learning. Okay. Now, if you go through the program and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you've got this whole thing, you haven't done the back test, you haven't done most of the stuff that I do, Disha, and then you're going through to a live account, all right, and without proper preparation, you say, okay, I'm going to learn using the live account, or I'm going to learn using whatever. Okay, then that usually just extends the learning curve. So if you take, let's say, 3 or 4 months trading a live account and bringing it down to 0, as opposed to properly learning for that 4 to 5 months or 6 months, properly doing research, properly back testing, properly actually trading on a demo account if you have to. But I usually suggest just a small micro account that you can trade off. And then once you are consistent there, then you can put more funds into your trading account instead of saying, okay, I just want to make money off this, I want to make withdrawals, I just need cash. Then probably not going to work. It's going to extend your learning curve because you're going to go 6 months into a live account and then realize that you need to go back one huge step. So you wasted that entire 6 months because you haven't really taught yourself anything because you were going up and down. All right, now only professionals will make money in trading long term. The rest just say they do. Okay, so that's a given. If you are a professional, it's evident in the way that you approach trading, as opposed to people who aren't professionals who make it seem like, okay, making so much money off the forex market, when in actual fact that's not the case. Okay, now a lot of obstacles that some of the guys will come in contact with, right, of which I think I can relate to all of these. One of them is undercapitalization, which simply means capital just isn't there to make trading. So that could be one issue. Time constraints. You might be studying, you might be working. Attachment to trading accounts. Okay, that would also tie in with unrealistic expectation, and also lack of trust in the system or yourself. Okay, because if you don't trust your system, you'll never trust yourself to actually execute it properly. So those are the major obstacles that, as retail traders, we have to battle off. Almost every single one of us has all of these tied into their trading career at some point. Okay. Right. Now, undercapitalization. Trading with a significantly small account size, looking to make big money. Okay. Trying to turn a $100 account into $5,000 in the next 3 or 4 months. That's one of the biggest ones. And the most commonly asked question of, okay, how much can I expect to make if I find an account with $200, $100? I mean, my response almost always is expect to make nothing, right? Especially when you're still in the beginning stages, expect to make nothing, right? So if that defers anyone from trading, then trading might not just be for you. But if it does say, okay, I expect to make nothing, but I know in the long run I will make money, and a significant portion of it, I'll make a good living, and I can make some big bucks, but I won't do it with this account. Then if you have that laid down, then things tend to be much easier. Okay, not having a proper plan or how and when to fund the accounts. Okay, you need to have a systematic way of saying, okay, now I'm ready. If you need help on that, you can always refer to me, as I'll be including a 15-minute session, which I'll discuss with you just before the end of the session. and that I will be able to have one-on-ones, right? So around 15 minutes, 20 minutes perhaps. It's all going to depend on the time. I'll give you guys the times that I will be available, and then we can just have a one-on-one session, and I'll check up the progress. You tell me what the major issues are, so we can move along with those. So I'll probably do 5 of those a week. So I'll probably be taking 5 people a week. So that's one a day. And adding unnecessary pressure by having to risk too much per trade. Right now, if you risk too much per trade, you almost got it, because if you have a $200 account trading a 0.05 or 0.10 on a $200 account, now every pip you lose is a dollar, right? So if you lose 20 pips, right, the trade goes against you 20 pips, that is $20. Okay, that is already 10% of the entire account that is on a single trade. So if you have a 50 pip stock, that's like $50 already gone on a 0.10 account.
Oh,
Okay, sorry about that. Let me just. Okay, everyone's quiet. Sound is good. Okay, apologies. I think my headsets aren't working. I didn't plug in my headset, so I couldn't hear anything. All right, perfect then. Okay, now funding a proper trading account. Okay, now when I say funding a proper trading account, that's when you are ready to say, okay, let's go and let's do this whole forex trading thing. Because I've seen from my $100 account or from my $200 account that I can actually make it to return if I put my mind to it, if I put my effort to it, and if I put all my focus on this. All right, maybe not all of it, but if I focus on it and give it the time that it needs, then I am making money on a consistent basis. Right? You don't want to make money one week and then the next week you lose your entire stake, right? Or make, let's say on $100 account, today you make $50. Tomorrow you lose $100, you're back at $50. So you're down 50% of your account. That's not consistency. Okay, consistency means you know that in the long run, if you look at your account 6 months from now, it will be up. Right? It doesn't matter to me that much in terms of how much percentage it will be up, but it will be up. Instead of saying you had $100 account this month, 6 months from now, that $100 account is $83. Right? It's slowly dwindling down, or you don't have it at all. Right? I mean, the whole blowing up of accounts thing, I seriously wouldn't understand. don't anyone, don't want anyone engaging in all of that. Okay, now you have to have a small account. Don't expect to actually live off that account anytime soon. Okay, now your initial account is not for you to actually make money. Your initial account is always there as a way or a means for you to learn how to sharpen your skills. Right. So that's it. Anything outside of that, it's really just going to deteriorate, because the only thing that a lot of people do suffer from is trying to make a lot of money too quickly. So that attachment, so it just pulls you back away from your objectives so fast and so furiously that it just throws you on the other end of the bus, and then by the time you look again, your account and all that you worked for probably like a week or 2 weeks, sometimes a month, is gone in a single day, because you're trying to push hard and trying to show everyone that, okay, yeah, I'm trading now, the trading is paying off and all of that stuff. I mean, this is not a race. Okay, hope we're on the same page, guys. And now time constraints, right? Managing your time is very important. I know I haven't really emphasized that in the past, but learning to manage your time and learning to prioritize trading over certain things is of critical importance. Now, work, studies, and other obligations may take extended time off trading. I know a lot of people who do this. And for me, if you're going to be taking time off trading itself, actually, that's a good time to actually get on the learning curve. So you need to set aside, turn your schedule that you can put in at least 30 minutes of learning each day. Right? If you can't afford 30 minutes each day towards your trading, right? I mean, your future as a trader is very big. Right? If you can't say 30 minutes, I don't know, I think an episode of Generations or something like that is like 30 minutes. Right? 30 minutes you probably waste just chatting to people that you shouldn't be chatting to. So carve out 30 minutes just for learning, right? Just for learning. It could be going through the videos, right? It could be studying charts. It could be marking up charts, but it needs to be something constructive that helps you to learn or to notice something that you didn't previously know within the charts themselves. So I'll give you guys all of those things that you can do within that time, especially when we're going through to the back testing, data gathering, part of the modules. But for now, just know that you have to have, outside of your trading, you have to have 30 minutes that is dedicated to learning each and every day. Right? You can take weekends off, Saturday, Sunday, but Monday to Friday, at least, at minimum, that gets you to the table. If you can't do that, you're not even in the table. Okay, now, lack of trust. Mainly with this, a lot of people, like myself as well, experience what we call lack of trust in your system. Right. So then you engage in the whole system hopping. Okay. Now, lack of trust means you will always be looking for an easier way to actually trade or an easier way to make money from the market. Simply because when you take a strategy or trading system or methodology, whatever you want to call it, and you implement it on a live chart without you doing sufficient research or without you doing proper back test or data gathering, just trying to understand how the system works, and you just implement it on there. What would happen is when a system is experiencing some drawdown, you immediately let go of it because you're not confident enough in. So when that fighter actually experiences a loss, then you do understand that, okay, it's part of the game, right? It's part of the sport, but it doesn't necessarily make them a terrible fighter all of a sudden, because some fighters probably, I think some of the highly rated ones, okay, have a loss or two or three on their resume. This doesn't make them bad fighters, but it does say, okay, that there can be periods of drawdown, of losing. So when you don't have confidence, because you have confidence in that type of person, because they're world champion or something like that, then you have trust in them. But if you don't feel like that, you have a champion strategy, and it's something that's solid. When it experiences a drawdown, you're like, no, this is silly. I shouldn't have trusted this in the first place. Then you will drop it and look for something else, which is an endless endeavor, because there will always be some new strategy which promises better results than the last one you tried, and it's just going to be you chasing your tail, so to speak. Now, if you've not backtested your strategies or setups, then you'll never find out the actual probabilities of it, right? One beautiful thing about backtesting is that you can have, although it might not be mathematically accurate, let's say 97.88%, it might be, let's say, rounded off 97% probability that I will have a winning trade over a losing trade, right? So 9 times out of 10, for instance, or 8 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10, I will be profitable in a trade. And when I am profitable, I will average this amount of pips. So based on your back test results, that on average, you will take a losing trade. So when you do take a losing trade, you don't mind. When you take 2 losing trades, you also still don't mind. Even when you take 3 losing trades in a row, you're still carefree, because on average, you might be losing 3 trades out of every 7 trades. All right, that doesn't diminish your confidence and you start looking for something else, or just chopping and changing, because on the fourth trade, probability says that's supposed to be a win. And then you might run into a winning streak as well, which is the next second trade that you actually take will be the ones that make money. Simple as that. Okay. Now, changing and adding things to the system which on the surface makes things seem easier. Right, you might have a new indicator, right, that you might want to try out. I think I saw someone in the group posting an indicator saying, I mean, it's hardly ever wrong. It does this, it does it. I mean, it's all too common, and it does give you the perception that things are working out. But trust me, down the line, it's gonna fail you. Why? Because you're going in to a trading system or indicator, oscillator, whatever you want to call it, with the perception that it's going to make things so much easier. So you're going to have to do less work to make more. I mean, the world just doesn't work that way. Okay. If you don't backtest, you will be doing yourself a massive disservice. Okay. And you'll probably never really operate on extreme confidence. So if you're not backtesting, if you don't do backtest, you're really just not doing yourself a huge favor. All right, so that is one of the core or the crux of the confidence, lack of confidence there. Because if you don't know what the probabilities are, then you're just operating on what you see in front of you. So when you take a losing trade, and then another losing trade, and then another losing trade, all you see is 3 losing trades. Right. But if you treat each and every trade like the next 100 trades that I'll be taking, so if I have a 70% or 60% winning ratio, so 6 out of 10 trades will be right. And when they are right, I make 100 pips. And when I am wrong on the 40%, I lose 20 pips. That's it. That's probabilities stacked stacked in your favor. All right. So you're making that, you understand the framework that you're working in. So you know that 60% of the time you're going to be right. So you look at trades on a long term. Don't look at trades at 5 trades that, I lost 3 out of 5 trades. Lost. If it were a short term game, you definitely see a whole lot less professionals and a whole lot more chances actually making money. So with that in mind, you want to be focused on the long-term game, right? So that's what I always emphasize, because the short-term game really just leads to failure, frustration, trying to chop and change, trying to buy this, trying to buy that, trying everything. You might try everything. You might spend 5 years trying everything, whereas if you spent that 5 years just honing your skill, practicing, trading, making money, you'd be far better off. Now, most traders lose money because they feel they're different, but inside, most of them are still the same because they operate on a level of greed and level of trying to make everyone see them, like, okay, yeah, I'm trading now, I'm making money, all of that stuff, which really is insignificant, because most people don't mind going to study for 3 years, right, without getting a single cent. Right? So you go to school and you actually pay each and every month or each and every semester to attend classes and all of that stuff. But when it comes to trading, people want that instant gratification or instant reward type of thing. So we're going to be working on just removing that, just focusing more on honing the skill, taking the time, because once you do get trading, right, once you understand it, once you see the patterns, okay, I need to have a trading journal to actually document my trading. Right, so I need to keep track of all the specific trades that I do take. That's professionalism. I need to have a check down list just to verify and guide me through the trade setups that I actually do take. All right, I need to have a forecast sheet, okay, saying, okay, these are my targets. I need to have a trading plan. So that trading plan is something that I go through each and every single day, And trust me, it sounds like a lot, but all of these processes that I'm talking to you about take less than 30 minutes to actually complete. So going through your trading plan, um, going through your check down list, looking at your forecast, and just having an idea of the markets themselves just before, even before you analyze or anything like that. That takes basically less than 30 minutes. I'd probably say less than 15 minutes. Okay, now keeping negative influences as well as not having to depend on trading to pay your bills, right? Now, one of the chief things that make people lose money, right, that cause people to lose money rather, or to struggle with trading, is having to depend on trading to actually pay bills. Actually, I mean, if you're working on that level, it's going to be very hard for you to actually break through and just leapfrog yourself because what I've noticed as well from my end is that a lot of the more successful ones are the young guys who probably still studying and something like that. So they're still studying. They don't have to depend on trading. They don't have a wife and bills and all of that stuff. So if you're still working, it's perfect. Work provides all the things that you actually need to do. And then trading is your investment. Okay, so trading is an investment, so treat it as such. Because what I usually say is that if if you're a bit reluctant to actually come through to the charts or to open your laptop, you're feeling anxious and all of that stuff. I mean, that's really just the lack of confidence in yourself and the frustration actually surfacing. So now you can't take trades or you don't want to trade. You might avoid trading altogether. I don't have data. Say there's this, there's that. You know, you're just avoiding data. I mean, trading all together. Okay. Now make sure to build confidence slowly by trading so small that it seems like a waste of time. If you haven't been there, trust me, that's the best place to be. So if you're trading, let's say let's say you have a $500 account, you trade 0.01, you make $6, and you make 60 pips, or you make $100. I mean $10 when you make 100 pips. It might seem like a waste of your time. That's exactly where you need to be initially. So when it feels like you're just wasting your time and it's not worth it, because when you lose a trade, you don't necessarily feel that. When your loss is so small that you don't feel it at all, or you don't go to bed and I lost the trade, then you know you're on the right track. But if you're still thinking about your last 3 or 4 days after you took it, then definitely you're not going to be trading at your optimum. So you want to be at your best trading mindset or mentality, and that's somewhere between you feeling like it's a waste of time, but also having that confidence that I will be making considerable amounts of money in the long run. Right. So when you balance that, all you need to do is focus on compounding what you have. Correct. So compounding your returns, compounding your learning, compounding the experience. That's really trying to do something each and every day that's going to move you forward in your trade. Okay. Is everybody good? Okay. All right. Perfect. So if there are no questions, we're going to go through with the program from tomorrow going forward. So it's going to be my, yeah, I sense that because I can see that saying connection unstable. I'll send through the video to you guys, right? Or rather, I can just upload it on YouTube and send through the link into the group and then just everyone have access to it. I think that might make it easier. Okay, but we'll figure something out. So this basically means that we're going to be focusing on something a whole lot more different. That's really just going to set everyone here within this group apart from the rest of the group through um, the willingness to also help each other. Like, okay, so and so needs this, and so needs that. It's going to be a matter of just us helping each other out as much as we can. Right. So I will be doing indices tomorrow. I mean, that's probably going to be my favorite part of the module because I love trading indices so much, and it's going to be insightful, hopefully for you guys as well, because I'm going to be sharing some stuff that I really don't think I've shared with you guys before, especially on the online classes. I might have shared it with one or two of the guys during the live sessions, and they just blew up with them, and they're just doing really good on that tip. But tomorrow we're going to be going deep into the indices, so you guys are going to have a good probably an hour with me tomorrow, and I'll just be sharing with you guys everything I know in that regard. Okay, so if there are no further questions, I will end off today's session here, and I'll make the video available for you guys because I am totally aware that the connection is actually bad this side. Might need to upgrade my line because this is becoming more frequent than I'd like it to be. So I'll just look into that as well. Probably have some guys over tomorrow to check it out. Okay. No questions, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow, same time. Sure.